they ban away the Rise.
Yeah, we're going to have a couple adaptations. M3, another Twisted Fate ban targeting the mid laner over on KX. Azir banned away again. We could see 4 identical bans, but M3 already going to shift it up. A Vlad ban in there as well, up against that mid laner. And LeBlanc Azir, the first 2 bans aim straight at Dade once more.
Yeah, so we might actually have 6 mid lane bans if they go with the Cho'Gath as well as the Rise coming through here. I'm surprised that M3 wanted to ban Vladimir because that seems to be the one matchup that Rise relatively comfortable in.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not happy. First picking it would have to drop late, could maybe give it over. Cho'Gath banned again here, and there's the Rise. So 6 mid lane bans, count them.
Yeah, and what does Dade play now? You see the flex pick Annie coming through here for Lupa.
Ah, Lupa, always flashing the flex pick Annie. I mean, they've got lots of good options. They can take Sedge if they want to. Urgot open as well. And, of course, Hecarim was a big one there for Lupa. Even Maokai has been super popular as far as first picks go, but going to play it safe and pick up the ever-good support, but a bit of flexibility for Lupa as well.
Yeah, so you would expect Hecarim, Thresh to probably be the 2 picks that come through from Kx.Happy. Although grabbing a jungler also a good idea. Hecarim is locked in straight away for Eternal. I like that. A little bit more carry-orientated out of the star top laner for KX, so we'll see exactly what comes through.
KX there flushing the Maokai with already the Hecarim locked in, so potential shenanigans abounding now, but when we're probably going to see a jungle pick, Rek'Sai being open, says to me that KX probably want to take it away, even just to deny it from Condi, who's had some great Rek'Sai games in the regular split. They're going to take their time, though, and it is actually a Maokai. Oh, they swapped on me. Nautilus there, along with Hecarim.
Yeah, so I actually thought I was going to see it. The return of jungle Maokai.
No, not yet,
Not
Spawn.
yet. I got it in my back pocket. I don't think it's horrible. That's the thing, but we'll see exactly how it goes. Condi, he's going for a proven good jungler here.
Yeah, Sejuani potentially coming through. Rek'Sai open as well. Plenty of good options coming through, but KX hiding some of their picks here. Got some decent flexibility between Nautilus and Hecarim, but M3 going to think carefully through what they want. 80 carries. Interesting. Kallista's back again if SLMZ wants to take it away, but might just keep on the carry trend for Lupa in particular. We talked about it, Annie. Haven't seen it top lane for M3 in a while, and it is Sejuani and Shyvana.
And I'm expecting Lupa to do this all series pastry time. Just swap between the Hecarim and the Sejuani, depending on whether he's on blue or red. Shyvana. Hecarim very good at dueling in lanes. Shyvana more about pushing out the lane, going to find the enemy jungle and taking away all the jungle experience. So they do different things, but kind of still the same playstyle, diving on the backline in those team fights.
Yeah, still looking for that teleport smite, looking to get big with the Cinder Hulk and just go massive and be a huge tank and a threat at the same time. We saw Lupa using his smites wonderfully on the red side on his Hecarim, but KX, they've locked in the Urgot. They're going to have a big beefy bottom lane, and Rek'Sai will drop late in the picks for them as well.
I want to see what they take mid lane with this pastry time. Not much damage coming out so far for the KX lineup. They have good dive onto the AD carry, might be able to get rid of someone, but with all the persistent coming through, damage coming through from Shyvana, from Sejuani, you expect Dade to also take a persistent damage mid laner. It's very, very tough ask to be able to wear through them with the lineup they've got.
Yeah, it's a great Civic comp actually for M3 as well. I don't know how the matchup fares necessarily, but with 6 mid lane bans, we have to have some changes here. Maybe the team's just being like, what's left that we can possibly pick here? But they are going to lock in Civa. I love the pick in the comp, and Dade back to Xerath.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to have to disagree with you here. M3 have gone 2 stationary carries on the backline, and that means Hecarim could potentially have the field day coming through here. Cassiopeia left up here in the mid lane for Churchy, so we'll have to see how that works out. He would be counter-picking himself because he's going to get absolutely smashed in lane.
Yeah, I mean, the pick makes sense against the comp. I think Cassio versus Siva in general is just fine. And against his big divers, the ultimate's great when you're playing defensively especially. Again, the mid lane pool got shredded here from all the bans that got thrown. 6 mid lane bans in this second game here, and not many options left. Churchy's going to take Cassio.
Yeah, that is mind-boggling. When you have a Xerath in the lane and Ahri is still available, generally you just want to pick that one up. I mean, try and kill him in the mid game with so much pick potential already coming through. You got the swap, you got all the CC from Nautilus. You've got Rek'Sai, who's fantastic ganking. Makes a little bit more sense, but going with a very difficult matchup, to be honest. At some point, Dade's just going to be able to shove out that lane, and there is 0 kill potential.
I mean, they have to be worried about damage at that point, right? They're just like, Ari, not enough damage. K.Happy, great sustained damage mage, and they must be picking for comp there, because that is a counter pick.
Yeah, it certainly is a comp pick. I agree with you there, trying to get Looper off the backline, but we'll have to see how it works out.
Yeah, Shyvana versus Hecarim, our first matchup in the top side there. Looper taking on Eternal, much more carry potential on the top side of the map, and we're going to see this matchup a lot as we move through playoffs. Sejuani versus Rek'Sai.
Yeah, Rek'Sai advantage early game. We'll be able to gank a lot better. The matchup we were talking about, Dade versus Tertiary, it's Xerath versus the Cassiopeia, and that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is indeed. As SMLZ back to Sivir here to help get those tanks into the backline, and Ulkorn on everyone's favorite Urgot.
Yeah, Urgot just showing a huge resurgence at this point. Love CD, he has his Annie versus W on Nautilus. Urgot Nautilus, a very beefy bottom lane. Going to be hard to fight.
Yeah, it's kind of a smart pick there against the Annie, just being like, yeah, you can ultimate now. Can't kill either of us for so tanky. So I like what's going on. I do like what M3 is going on. I'm curious to see how they will play it here, but Dade especially, this is a big carry game for him.
Yeah, it certainly is. He has to get going early, needs to shut down this Cassiopeia. Greedy late game pick coming through from KX, and if they can make them pay early, start stacking up the objectives, siege down turrets with Dade, you feel M3 have a very clear win condition.
Yeah, I mean, they've looked good so far. Looper can go off as well. We'll see if he does it. We're about to get into game 2. And welcome onto the Rift here for our second game of this best of 5 here for the LPL Summer Promotion Tournament. The LPL's M3 taking on the LSPL's Kx.Happy with M3 currently up a game.
Yeah, so M3, they took game 1 and we see already Xerath versus... Oh, wow, Dade.
Yeah, Took just missing though. Could have maybe been a kill. Cassio, good level 1 damage, but they're going to give it up. Just hitting the terrain there. Not what he wanted, unfortunately.
Yeah, certainly was not. He wanted a champion. They do get some deep wards down, so they will know exactly where Sedge is starting, which will go in KX's favor.
Yeah, just a bit of early vision, always nice. Want to keep track of these tanky junglers, and of course Rek'Sai does have the ability to pressure that Sedge. We see her get low so often after doing that full clear, and it's about time that some people start walking into that jungle and just killing her.
Yeah, so we'll see exactly if that is what happens. Lane swap coming through from Master3. You see the duo lane heading top, and Shyvana burning out through the mid lane.
It's pretty beneficial to swap with the smites that are coming through for top lane as well. But KX looking for that 2v2. Pretty aggressive lane with the Urgot Nautilus. So understandably, Sivir Annie going to get out of its way.
Yeah, so do not want to go anywhere near that. Able to get across the other side of the map. Nautilus, of course, being originally a jungler, will have a much better roaming impact, you think, in the early game. Annie a little bit squishier. Nautilus can engage from further away, and he's very flash reliant, so we'll see whether they can make that work from W. And you see already Dade at level 1 starting to try and bully. He did this last game, and the problem with Cassiopeia, so you see the harass trade good, auto attack trade good. As soon as Dade has any levels, Cassio tries to zone him. Dade just throws a stun as they walk in, gets half the health in one chunk, and backs away from the trade without doing anything. So I don't even actually think he needs to try and trade now.
Good heal from Dade. I mean, that's exactly what Cassio has to do, is try and all in at level 2 with the Twin Fang. Cassio's early levels are excellent, like you mentioned, but Dade uses the heal very defensively, but he needs to get to level 3 and be safe.
Yeah, exactly right. So we'll see if that can happen as we see Love CD trying to pressure here. Needs to be careful. Is pinging it out. Yeah, they're on the strong side of the map because that's where their 2 people are, but they did rotate W around. Yeah,
I actually like that they're keeping the Nautilus in there as well. Probably going to try and gank Dade again anyway, so why not keep his support in the safe zone?
Yeah, exactly right. Making sure he hasn't been spotted on the map. So you don't know where the Nautilus is, although he's been pinged out now because he stood on top of a ward. And Dade, he is being focused a little bit. No, they're going to the blue bar.
Yep, going to try and steal something away or at least keep track of this Sejuani, but Condi had a very easy time in the jungle so far, clearing out actually his side of the jungle. Been a weird lane swap, honestly. No vertical jungling, but benefiting a lot of different places around the map.
We're going to have a 3v3 in the top lane pastry.
Yeah, it's actually, that's where they want to go instead, as Nunai going to come in as well. Love City gets hooked there by the Nautilus. Eternal diving in as well. Flush knock up there into SMLZ. They need to pick targets. Condi roaming in there as well. And Nunai going to go down. First blood and the double buffs go to Sivir. And that red buff going to work. Now damage comes in. SMLZ gets a double kill.
That was awful. They kept walking into the Annie, who had a stun and hit all 3 members with the W. Looper now in the bottom lane trying to bully out Ulkon. That's not going to work. That's an Urgot Looper. Run away.
Yeah, out of mana, thankfully, so Urgot not able to dish out too much harass. Looper actually a level advantage after teleporting to the lane due to the early jungling he was able to do on Shyvana. So stuff looking good in the solo lanes for M3, and that top lane went wonderfully.
Yeah, it certainly did. They've got 2 kills. There's a 24-5 CS advantage for Looper. He's picked up exactly where he left off, and M3 fans everywhere going, that's fantastic, Looper. You're playing well in the relegation tournaments. We appreciate it, but please next season try and keep it up.
Yeah, we'll see if you can make it through. But I have to say the smite just helped out top laners in general. It feels like all of your early game choices no longer severely punish you, because if you ever get lost in the jungle, okay, fine, I have a smite now.
Yeah, exactly right. You clear better than most junglers, honestly, with the current meta champion pool of top lane, of course. So, Shyvana, if I do that one more time. So Shyvana as well as Hecarim, they farm very well, especially the AoE camps.
Yep, look good here, and you can tell by Looper's CS here, doubling the Hecarim still. Level 5, approaching 6 quite swiftly here on that Shiv. And Love City looking for a gank. Eternal will get away to recall though, and he's got his flask, he gets his machete. Maybe thinks, you know what, it's not safe in the top lane, time to jungle.
Yeah, that's exactly what he thinks. He's just trying to pick up the extra gold. That's why I'm surprised that we see the Ruby Crystal out of Shyvana so much, because you get 15 extra gold from every camp. If you do take that machete, it's just such a worthwhile purchase early game.
I mean, maybe not so effective in the lane if you end up in your 1v1 could be the reason, but we've certainly started to see top laners again experiment with the early machete, and especially if you can snowball in an early level 1 fight and get it, you can really power clear some minions, but monsters, sorry, but KX on top of an early dragon, due to all the swapping shenanigans, they should be able to pick this one up very neatly.
Yeah, they'll pick it up, and you know, they probably should have just gone for that instead of the top lane fight in the first place, because it's a very easy objective. They grab it at about the 5-minute 45 mark, so we'll be up again before maybe when you expect the first dragon, around that 12-13 minute mark. But in the end, M3, they're going to be able to grab a lot of turret damage in response.
Yeah, SMLZ just fast pushing now in the Sivir, has a quick BF sword after that 2-0, and that means the turrets, they are not lasting long. Yeah,
and they're looking for a gank here on Nunai. We complimented his jungle pathing this game. He's sticking around on the dangerous side of the jungle a little bit too often for me. Knew Condi was there because of Tremor Sense, but Condi might be able to pick this one up.
Smite Wars, Nunai should get his back relatively soon, I believe. Love City joining in as well. They're going to try and battle over the creep. Smite still not hit for Rex, actually quite a bit longer on the cooldown, and Condi might just be able to smite it away. Going to run in and gets it.
Yeah, that's devastating for the Rek'Sai. He did so much work. Put in all the man hours, but in the end, it was just stolen away.
Yep, it's Dade now level 6, going to battle against the Cassio. Low on mana here as Dade pops the heal again. Great Sun coming through. Love City, they're going to come in as the cleanse and the flash get used by Cassio. Miasma there for a bit of slow. Still throwing out the Noxious Blast. Has the ulti to disengage, and Love City, no flash crucially.
Yeah, no flash coming through there, so not able to get it done, but wow.
Jeez, yeah, solo for Sivir in the top side. SMLZ 3-0 in 7 minutes.
Yeah, 36 CS ahead. If you go the head-to-head matchup with Eternal, who he's kind of laning against at the moment, the range, the BF sword, just nothing in Hecarim's favor and able to burn him down. They'll grab the turret as well. A fantastic early game out of M3.
Yeah, this Sivir's been doing work, and SMLZ in this series as Condi finds onto the Cassio. Ulti there coming through for Dade. Great hits landing, but not quite in range for the last one. Just throwing out a bit of poke, and good combo there.
Yeah, so they throw it through. They get the ultimate out of Cassio. Now no kill potential in the mid lane because there's no flash. You can't walk forward without your cleanse. Sometimes you just need to eat the stun to get in range of Xerath, and everything going a little bit wrong. Yeah,
things looking nice here for M3. You can see a gold lead crept up quite aggressively, actually, of about 2,000 gold or so, maybe even 3, because my math is absolutely trash. But SMLZ pickaxe done now as well, and just maybe finally starting to justify his place on the roster over Candy. You had a great LPL.
Yeah, Candy was looking promising. We were very confused when he was put on the roster, but the faith in SMLZ has paid off. It's kind of his meta because he's an Urgot player as well, but he's shown that he can play many other picks. And Dade, now that he's got that advantage in the mid lane, starting to zone. He's got 6 CS the advantage, but more importantly, Cassio cannot go near the wave.
Yeah, and Churchree with that tier. No combat stats really against Dade. It's just amp tone Doran rings at this point. Dade, free reign there as Love City level 3 aggressively coming through, but Sivir just so confident at this stage of the game with such an early lead.
Yeah, he got the double boomerang through, and of course another tier being picked up. Thought I didn't have to speak about this too much anymore, but double tier comps, you always have to be aware of them. Saw a very good resurgence of them when Rise Jace was very popular in like Season 2, Season 3 coming through there. I worry about teams that are running so late game against these mid-game people like Shyvana, like Siva. This isn't a late game composition coming out of M3. It does completely fine in the late game, but mid-game, these guys are monsters. Yeah,
and they're just showing it right now as Looper going to start really putting the hurt onto Eternal. Actually 2 levels ahead. Going to force the Rek'Sai ultimate defensively, and Looper, again, quick skirmish, just Saber Cinderhawk done, starting to push really aggressively. That's 82 to 32, a 50 CS difference in the top.
Yeah, and to show how good Looper's done this game, he was in a lane swap against Urgot, who is a lane bully, and he's the highest CS on the map. He's completely destroyed what Kx.Happy is trying to do here, and you see across the map, they've lost every single lane, and that's horrible news.
Yeah, SMLZ's continuing to press aggressively in the bottom side as well. Pickaxe here for Urgot, going to be a bit more ready on the combat front, but SMLZ at this point. Infinity Edge is coming quickly, and Love City even positioning aggressively. Just no cares in the world here for M3's bottom lane. So far ahead right now.
Yeah, they certainly don't, because if they can bait any damage down onto Love CD, SMLZ is just going to free hit, and that's the exact situation you want to be in. So you don't want to commit anything to the Annie. In saying that, she just throws out so much CC at this point in the game that every now and again you have to give her a warning shot.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say I've loved SMLZ's spell shield as well as Condi's down here, throws the ulti, tags Kong with the slow. That's going to force the flash out from W, but Condi, a bit of pressure, gets some summoners and backs away.
Yeah, double summoner spells. That's so worthwhile because Dragon's up in a minute 30, and if you cannot position aggressively with Urgot, you may as well not be in this fight. So Kx.Happy probably going to have to give it up.
And I think the thing I love here as we pop back in the mid is exactly this. Dade, no chalice needed right now, just full-on aggression, needlessly large rod as his first major item.
Yeah, and we speak about it so much. If you're able to go back and grab that 1600 gold item, it's just so hard not to. Dade had the blue buff, so he's able to get it done, and the zoning really coming through now. He's got it up to 10 CS and looking to get even more aggressive.
Love City getting hooked though, a little bit low. No tip is available. Ultimate pop by SMLZ defensively. Now going to pop his way back in. Condi, flash aggressive there with the Arctic Assault. W getting 2 low falls down to Condi. Eternals here as well, but Looper will also join in on Shyvana. Ultimate ready to go, but M3 is going to prep for the Dragon.
Yeah, and Eternal, he wanted to get aggressive, but Looper matched the teleport at the perfect time. They might dive.
Yeah, they are going to dive here. Eternal has to run away. No Silver ulti. Makes it a bit tricky. Looper going to zone instead. They'll get the turret. They'll rotate in for the Dragon because right now Cassio can't leave lane to Xerath.
Yeah, Xerath just pushes in so much quicker than Cassio at this point. So even if she does leave, Dade just going to shove that one out. Dade a little bit so he's losing some lane control. He just farms from anywhere though. That's the problem with this lane. Cassio, she wants to be a lane bully, wants to have kill potential. She just doesn't have it.
Yeah, has a bit there. Dade again early on the heel. Wants to make sure it doesn't get all in too aggressively, but no Ignite coming through. Flash there from Dade. Great reflexes. Dodging the Cassio Bureau.
Yeah, and they're all in here for a gank. Looper coming around.
Yeah, you can see why he was looking for the stun there, but Eternal's joining in. Nunai down as well, and Shyvana might be forced to ultimate defensively here, but so tanky just with the Cinderhawk.
Yeah, able to get in there for the smite, and surprising damage also coming out of Looper at this point in the game. Has he gone... He's gone W max as well, so that's completely bonkers damage out of a W max Shyvana. Normally you expect that from an E max, but W, not known for its dueling potential, able to come up huge.
Yeah, it is good consistent damage, good clearing as well. It's kind of the reason he's been farming up a Storm so far, hitting 100 CS already against poor Eternals, who's only at 60 right now on the Hecarim. And again, it's sort of the star player coming through as we have the ulti used by Looper. Wants to get aggressive. Nuno, those ganking as well. Great knockup coming in, and Eternal finally gets a kill back.
Yeah, so they're able to get a kill, but it will mean a Dragon goes across unless they can grab the turret. Not really worthwhile. They will pick it up. So in the end, you got to say that's pretty good play coming out of KX.
Yeah, M3 going to equalize the Dragons here. KX, of course, got the early one in all the lane swaps there as Love City finds the ward, sweeps it away. Rek'Sai joining in, but it's the top side of the map, so not going to move in for a Dragon Seal. And Dade going back to shop, gets the Dragon Chalice, finished up there as well. And just so much pressure as Nunai trying for a gank, but Dade on the right side of the lane.
Yeah, and this is what you do. You just cheat towards the side of the lane that has a ward. Of course, he had a ward top side as well, now being swept out. But if you're on that side of the lane, they're never going to be able to really gank you. And you can see Dade, as soon as he grabs the next blue buff, you feel this lane is just completely over for the Cassiopeia. Done very admirably to stay in the lane. I thought it would be a lot worse than what it is, but Dade, he's just been looking a little bit better in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, quite a bit cleaner here for Dade. We expect him to show up in playoffs. Didn't make it, but promotion might as well be playoffs here for Dade. It's clutch moments like this that he really excels and has a great first 2 games so far. And Dade really just doesn't care about his mana pool right now, throwing out every spell.
Yeah, he certainly is, and just able to get a lot of it back from how Chalice works now. And you see Looper trying to invade aggressively, wants that buff for himself, won't probably be able to get it.
But buys enough time potentially for the blue buff. Still M3 going to force a difficult choice onto Kx.Happy. Which buff do they want to defend? Because there are 2 smites on M3, 2 on KX as well, but they're not in a position to contest both of them.
Yeah, they certainly are. We'll see whether Casio, she just goes back, so they're completely giving up control over this buff, although M3 don't know that, so they're starting to muck around. No, they do get it. Yeah,
they're actually going for a bit of a 3v3. Looper still pressuring on the buff. Could have a smite ball between top laners. Looper gets it, though. Blue buff taken away by Dade as well, I believe. No, who got the blue buff?
So it must have been smarted away from Nunai. So he gets his blue buff. That's good. Now putting some pressure on the blue buff of M3. So they need to be careful because Dade, he needs a blue buff.
He does. I mean, again, he's been acting like he's had one this whole time just with the Chalice. So going to move towards it. Does sweep out looking for wards. Knows that that top side of the map not particularly safe right now as Nunai looking for a gank here on the top side. Sees the Scuttle Crab go, but wants to find Looper. But with the Giant Spot especially, Looper is extremely tanky.
Yeah, Looper is just impossible to kill. And the thing I like about taking Smite on Shyvana at the moment is that you don't need to take an offensive item. You just build tanky, you smite the Gromp before the buff, and you act like a jungler. You get all up in their face with your mixed damage. Just put out so much from your Smite, the Gromp, as well as like if you have a red buff at the same time. Just doesn't need the Blade of the Ruined King. Doesn't need any other wave clear.
Yeah, it just looks good now as Dade does get his blue buff here. Scuttle Crab doesn't quite get it.
Yeah, just missed it. Did go for the snipe there in the end. And wow, mid lane's actually swung right back around CS, completely even out here, even farming some of the creeps in the jungle as well. So Churchery, he's performing really well. Picked up a second item.
Done excellently, Kieran. He's got good team fighting potential now as well if KX want to maybe look to contest for that 3rd overall dragon. Abyssal Scepter, kind of an item we've seen pick up a bit more, but I do like the choice in this situation.
Yeah, well, there's just so much magic damage coming out. It's only really Sivir that does any physical at this point. Dade, he's looking for some aggression here. Needs to be careful because there is a stray W waiting in the wings, waiting to take him out on that Nautilus.
Yeah, any CC that lands onto Dade, K.Happy will melt Xerath in any sort of damage trade. But Love City also looking for a counter gank on top of a ward, unfortunately, though. So unsuccessful so far as Dade, now level 11, continues to farm his life away as Looper hanging out in the top lane, gets caught, but not really. It's Shyvana.
Yeah, there is no way that you actually catch him with his teleport ultimate up. Going to be able to jump over walls, traverses terrain very well.
Looper feels like his permanent W on right now. That lasted for so long.
And now it's back.
Yeah, back again there. Helps with the speed up as well. And Eternal actually maybe gets soloed here on the Hecarim, still building in towards the next big item. He has to go back and spend a bit of gold. K.Happy continuing to get pressure, but Abyssal shaking off a lot more poke now.
Yeah, and that's a really nice pickup for exactly that reason. The defensive stats coming through really helping with a poke. It's very good offensively for Casio because she's always going to be in range for that. So you see that Dade not really doing that much damage, is continuing shoving in the lane, nullifies a lot of what Cassiopeia wants to be doing in the mid game, grouping up with her team and getting things done, but scales extremely well, so going to be in a good position.
Yeah, it's just a matter of KX setting up those big fights. There's a ton of CC on both sides here, so team fights, if we start to even things out on the item front, could get incredibly explosive. At M3 looking to rotate in for the mid tower. It's an important one to get, and a great rotation will pick it up for them.
Yeah, finally make an aggressive call. You're waiting for it to happen. They've got the advantage on their AD carry and top laner. They need to start pushing it around the map, and the more they group, the better off they will be at this point in the game. There is a minute on Dragon. You think that becomes the next very clear objective for Master3 to get in position. They started off the Scuttle Crab, going back for some wards.
And a good item pick up for Dade as well. Perfect item timing this time. Not quite the Rod of Aether's whoops, I'm late to my party that we saw on the Rise last time. Does have the Athenes now, and surprisingly good in any sort of team fight.
Yeah, it certainly is. The mana refresh coming through is definitely good, so watch for that if he ever does get low in these extended poke trades. Churchery, he's able to clean up a pink ward, so that's good news for him. And we see across the map. Some more farming coming through, but Dragon's up in 40 seconds.
Yeah, I'm going to look in for it here as Dade hanging out. Going to keep farming away. Dragon back up in 34 seconds or so. So not quite there yet. We've got teleports up for the top laners as Looper going to pressure a little bit onto Eternal. Don't have to rush for it quite now, but lots of wards in the river there on the bottom side of the map. Look for both teams to be contesting and picking up their second Dragon.
Yeah, so look for them to get aggressive here. They want to be able to grab that Dragon. Smite battle once again goes over to Looper.
He's been practicing, man. Must have been doing a bit of smurfing, maybe playing some jungle, getting a feel for that Smite. And in all seriousness, top lane is taking Smite. One of the things they probably can't do above their junglers is know how to Smite well.
Yeah, exactly right. But if you get a 2-level advantage on anyone, probably going to be easier to Smite. And you see Looper has got that at the moment. Ooh, not happy to go for the engage yet, Condi. Thought that would have been a thrown-out ultimate. There was 3 people standing on top of each other, but they're being patient.
Yeah, I mean, they can just buy time here. Looper continuing to pressure Eternal, getting vision around the Dragon, denying some pink wards. Got good defensive vision and pinks of their own. So KX, it's very dangerous for him to go in the river. Okon going to get initiated on now as well. SMLZ will get that first kill. Nautilus getting chased will go down as well. And 2 picks for M3 should mean an easy Dragon.
Yeah, so now they'll turn around, pick up the Dragon, and that was just a go button hit from Love CD. They'll also grab a blue buff for their trouble. That one not going to be smited away from Nunai. And Looper continuing the jungle pressure.
Yeah, doesn't need to be there for the Dragon, so takes away the red instead. Condi has a smite available for the Dragon. Will take it away as M3 are able to pick up their second, and Love City even sweeping out some vision.
Yeah, they just took everything at that point. Looper got the red, Dade got the blue, they got the Dragon. What an overall good turnaround coming out from M3.
Yeah, great stuff. And again, it's been clean team play that we've seen from M3 that's been really good to watch at this in this particular series. SMLZ going to go back. He's got Zeal, got Infinity Edge. Pretty massive right now on the Sivir. Looking to get a lot bigger here as Looper pops into the top side. Just going to start to abuse Eternal. That level disadvantage is ridiculous.
Yeah, it certainly is. Wait for Looper to just continue to get in the faces of the enemy team. You see a bit of a duel coming through. No one really dying because of those challenges, Smite.
Yeah, having some fun. Though Eternal now pops the ulti. Looper could be in trouble. Nuna here as well. Going to get knocked up there after the ultimate. Looper will go down as Rek'Sai claims the kill. And a good kill. Finally, Looper's overextension costs him.
Yeah, it certainly does. They get the red buff back and they pick it up off Looper's dead body. Whilst farming very well, Looper's been a little bit too aggressive this game. His team wasn't even able to grab anything from that. Need to probably play around SMLZ's power spike in the moment because he's got this Phantom Dancer, he's got the Infinity Edge. He's a very strong member on the map.
And Condi coming in actually to protect the turret, but it does fall to KX as they take their first turret of the game. Condi instead will take away the Grump as his consolation prize as Looper returns up to the top side of the map as well. It's funny that I just compliment M3 on playing solo as a team, and Looper gets himself caught out.
Yeah, so it goes for the solo play. Not able to make it work there, but it's only a kill in the end. It is 6-2 pastry time. There's a 5,000 gold lead over on M3, so they're doing extremely well.
Yeah, strong stuff coming in now as M3 going to be moving in. We can see the fan rats completed for Sivir. Like you mentioned earlier, Rabadon's death cap done now for Dade, so a big power spike coming in there as well. We got good stuff across the board actually, and we might even have a bait being set up or a trap being set for the Urgot.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case. They're camping out a brush right now, pastry time, trying to catch him out, and we'll see exactly what they can do to make it work.
As we do see more wards being put down, M3 continuing to get vision out as well. We've got the early warding totem there from Looper. I think that's the regular ward one. Don't know if that's the pink ward totem, but Looper just getting aggressive vision, and M3 splitting up KX so well, just starting to push every frontier of the map.
Yeah, it is a regular one, because you can see he has a couple of charges coming through, and they're very good for split pushing top laners, actually. Because you're able to get 2 wards down, ward both entrances, not really get caught out the same way Looper was before, so maybe that's what they're going for. We said that in the team fight, Hecarim will have the advantage. As a split pusher, Looper interacts with neutrals very well.
And we've seen a lot of top laners just start to pick that up as their standard trinket as M3 on top of this turret. Actually, Cassio gets hit by a stun, but not too much follow-up damage. They will have to back away. Have plenty of disengage and engage CC, so KX can't extend too far here.
Yeah, certainly can't. This is the one thing I do like about Xerath in this composition. We mentioned how people struggle to siege. if your AD isn't a good sieger, just get a poke-heavy mid laner. They can force people off turret. Expect Dade to maybe land another Q, then just throw the R out onto Nautilus, someone like that, because he can push people very far back off these turrets.
And they've got engaged, disengage, and dive options here as a big ulti lands in. Two-man tip as Posty, Sejuani coming through. Now Cassio going to get chased down by Looper as he's forced to flush the last bolt. Looper backing away in the dragon form. Love City actually taking up the turret, but another stun to go, and M3 are going to break the base.
Yeah, they break into the base. They grab a 7,000 gold advantage, and they do it off the back of their mid laner. Dade's been playing so aggressive and completely nailed Ulkorn with that stun there. Landed everything on him and just took him out.
And again, good team play from M3. As soon as the initial stun landed, Flash Tip is going in. Condi threw out the ultimate as well on Sejuani. Picked up 2 members under the turret and just steamrolled through that inhibitor.
Yeah, so they were able to get in there. A very impressive fight means that they have broken open the base. And from there, M3, they're just going to look to continue this pressure game. They've got the Xerath. They're able to take through these structures, and game really looks in their favor.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they need here. Again, it's been consistently strong team play that we've seen come through for M3 here. Been looking fantastic throughout the whole series. And again, it's just the one thing. Where was this team at the end of the regular split?
Yeah, exactly right. That's how Vici beat them. They weren't able to team fight against Vici. Every single time Vici team fought, they had an advantage.
Yeah, and we can see we actually have problems. We've got a Love City going down actually to Cassiopeia. So a good bit of counterplay there coming through. But M3, a big lead here. And again, very late game scaling coming through for Kx.Happy, and at this point, given how far down they are, going to be difficult for them to come back. We pop back in. We do have a pretty big team fight breaking out. Nuna actually gets a kill onto Dade, so M3 getting quite caught out here. 3 for 2 right now in the exchange. Desimozi and Condi are forced to run away, but Nuna getting an aggressive Hecarim. No, ulti can't quite chase him, but they'll get aggressive through the jungle. Condi will back away. They'll split up with M3 to try and get away, and 3 for 2, not the trade they wanted.
Yeah, definitely not the trade they wanted, because it was Lupa, Dade, as well as SMLZ fall. No, it wasn't. It was Love CD falling. So in the end, very, very nicely played by Kx.Happy, and they pick up some much-needed resources.
Yeah, and so all that gold lead here for M3, still sitting around the same spot of 7k ahead, but just weren't able to quite convert the last few fights. Got a bit caught out there, dragging it back up in 35, so M3 will not quite lose it yet, but have to rush back now that everyone's respawned. Big gold values actually being spent there. In fact, SMLZ, he's got a gold mine to spend.
Yeah, he has. He's got about 3,000, as you can see, come across. And that's what I was going to say. The worrying thing here for M3 is that there's a 4,000 gold discrepancy between AD carries. If it ever gets to the point of the game where they're able to get an Urgot ultimate over onto the Sivir, that's like all their gold lead gone.
Yeah, and you can see Scuttercrab going to go down to M3 now as well. Going to be on top of that dragon that's now back alive. Not even going to throw out a pink ward. We've got a straight Bloodthirster built up by SMLZ. That was his big purchase with the 3,000 gold. He had banked up Eternal, looking for a flank, and he gets stunned up by Love City. SMLZ, very massive here in the backlines. Will take it out as Dade gets that kill. Ulti lands onto 2. Nuna gets stunned up as Nautilus gets taken out as well. We've got Urgot being chased down. Looper zoning off the mid laner there as well. That's 3 kills already. Don't even need the Cassio. M3 straight on top of the dragon.
Yeah, and the kind of key to success for this Kx.Happy team comp was to have the Cassio as well as the Urgot next to each other, dealing out this damage, and dive with the Rek'Sai and Hecarim. That hasn't come to fruition at all. Dade's been able to get a fight started. That time around it was Love CD, and they just blow people up. That was nearly a melee range Sivir, but it just doesn't matter because no one can kill it.
No, he was so tanky between the Spell Shield and the Bloodthirster. And even just the Aegis helping out a bit from Annie. Lots of work can get done. Nunai might be looking for a steal of the Baron here, but Dade, ever vigilant in his watch of the Baron buff. Gonna zone him out. Even Condi actually, not even in the pit. We're gonna have Lupus Smite be the one to take it instead of a, here comes the double smite. Goodbye, buff.
Yeah, so the buff goes down. Lupa wants to keep his in case there is a fight breaking out anytime soon, and we'll see. Dade just wants to pick up his blue buff off the back of that. Actually, very controlled play coming out of M3. I expected them to be a little bit more aggressive, not looking for anything.
We've seen fairly controlled play so far in this series, actually. Game 1, very light from M3, just, you know, taking their advantage where they can, but very conservative play coming through so far. Similar story here, but they've got a big lead of almost 10,000 gold up. We can maybe fault them for not being too aggressive, but again, some promotion, a big deal here for M3. Want to make it back into the LPL and taking things slowly and looking great.
Yeah, so they're able to get in there. They're really trying to work for this one here. Recurve bow's being picked up by Shyvana in the top lane. Not going to be the Runearm's Hurricane, which we normally see from people that pick up the recurve bow. Will probably be a Wit's End to get some magic damage out there, shred through there, and make his other abilities even more effective. Yeah,
we talked about it. Looper doesn't really need additional damage, but Wit's End very cost efficient. Why not here as Love City going to look for a stun as well. Rek'Sai fairly tanky, gets chunked down pretty nicely by Dado, who hasn't quite finished up his Void stuff yet, but almost there. SMLZ with a QSS now as well. Really standard actually on these short range AD carries. With all the CC running about, especially with an Urgot in the enemy team, get your QSS.
And he's the only form of AD damage, so he doesn't really need to go for any armor pen because there's no armor being built on the other lineup. It just means he can have a complete field day with his auto attacks, not really have to worry about it. They're going to push through into another tier 2. Top lane, Looper's by himself as well. They'll grab both at once, and maybe can even rotate mid to take out the inhibitor. Yeah,
great 1-4 push here coming through. Looper, free time on the turret with the Baron up minions. Will take some turret aggro. No, actually, Cinderhog, yeah, does trigger a bit. Little bit of damage coming through, but barely registers there on Looper, who's got such a high health pool right now.
Yeah, he certainly does. He's extremely tanky. You see M3, they stream through the mid lane trying to get in here. You need to be worried of chokes when you're against K.Happy. Maybe wait for some poke to come through, but they've set up reasonably well.
Yeah, got a nice wide entrance to coming with the base opened up as well. So able to spread out nicely out from the K.Happy ultimate. They're going to get aggressive onto the turret. Baron up creep's going to do the majority of the work, and SMLZ steps in for a second, and all of a sudden, Hib's dead again.
Yeah, and now they've got the collapse coming through onto Eternal. He needs to be so careful. If that recall gets stopped, probably going to die.
Oh, stops it himself. I think realized he has to back away a little bit further. Will maybe force the ulti. No, just the devastating charge instead. But M3 will continue their rotations. Take out the last tier 2 turret in the top side of the map. 6 turrets done already. Soon to be 7.
Yeah, it looks like they're just a little bit too far ahead. Kx.Happy doesn't want to have to fight this team. Might even be looking towards game 3. Remember, this is a best of 5, guys. Kx.Happy still have some time to come back, but M3, they're playing this game clinically.
Yeah, playing wonderfully here as well. But there's the flash ulti. But SMLZ denies poor W. Goes down to the Sivir anyway. Mid laner dives in. Ulti comes through. Rather back Eternal action. But SMLZ far too good at kiting right now. Damage comes in onto Hakram. He'll go down as Con detected out. That's 3 kills down already. Now going to dive in onto Nuno. Love City going to find the stun. And they give it up, realizing we actually don't need more kills. Just break more base.
Yeah, exactly right. They'll join up with the mid lane wave, which has got a super creep in it. Probably be able to take this one down. Surrender vote, actually. That's twice from Kx.Happy.
Yeah, I mean, they realize at this point that it's just a formality. Can't realistically defend maybe a 1% shot, but an outside shot it is. Take the surrender, reset, because right now M3 are 2-0 up, and you have to win back-to-back-to-back games just to keep your LPL dream alive.
Yeah, they certainly need the reverse sweep, that's for sure. And maybe it's a psychological thing. I want to know if this is historically what Kx.Happy do. Don't give the enemy team the pleasure of destroying the Nexus, just throw it out.
Yeah, just say, look, we're going to reset. Don't give you an extra bit of momentum here with, you know, the joy of destroying the Nexus goes in. It's an interesting little play, but KX, big reset now as they move into their next game.
Yeah, they certainly need to. I want to see what they do. Do they bring back TRN? Was Ulkorn a good swap up? Didn't really do much for me in that bottom lane, and I think it hurt the rest of the map because across the board, some horrible games coming through this time. W especially, 0-7-1.
Yeah, so KX looking to struggle a little bit as they move through. Can they get the reverse all kill? And they'll start with the 3rd game. As we return from the break, M3 versus Kx.Happy will be back.